All right, welcome back. If you're keeping an eye on the Florida real estate scene, you are absolutely in the right spot. Today, we're jumping right into the Ocala market, looking at the third week of January 2026. We're going to skip the fluff and just get straight to the numbers, and more importantly, what they actually mean for you.
So let's get right to it. The big story for Ocala this week, I'd call it steady as she goes. We're seeing some really consistent activity. You know, it's an active market for sure, but it's not frantic. It's stable. So let's break down what steady activity actually looks like when you put some numbers to it.
Okay, first up, we've got to talk about what I call market flow. Just think of it like the energy or the pulse of the market, right? It all comes down to this super simple but critical relationship between supply. That's the homes coming onto the market, and demand, the homes being sold and going off the market. This balance, it shapes pretty much everything else we're going to talk about.
All right, so on the supply side of things, we saw 188 brand new listings hit the market just this past week. That's 188 fresh chances for buyers to find something. It's a healthy number, and it tells you that sellers are feeling pretty confident about putting their homes out there right now.
Now let's look at the other side of that flow, demand. This week, 69 homes were sold, taken right off the market. And this is where the story gets really interesting. Think about it. 188 new homes came on, but only 69 went off. So way more properties entered the market than left it. And that's a super important piece of the puzzle, because it tells us the inventory is actually growing, which, can be fantastic news if you're a buyer looking for choices.
So, okay, we know inventory is ticking up, but what does that actually mean for your wallet? Now that we kind of have a feel for the market's rhythm, let's tackle the two biggest questions that everybody, buyer or seller, wants to know. How much does it cost, and how long does it take?
Let's talk price. The median sale price for homes that closed this week was $290,000. And remember, it's super important that this is the median, not the average. It means it's the dead center of the market. Half the homes sold for more, half sold for less. It gives us a really solid, stable benchmark for what pricing looks like in Ocala right now.
And the pace? How fast are things moving? Well, on average, it took 104 days for a house to go from being listed to officially closing. To put that into perspective, you're looking at about 3.5 months. So what does that tell us? It tells us things are moving at a pretty deliberate speed. There's time for buyers to do their homework, inspections, financing, all that good stuff, without being rushed.
All right, so we've looked at supply, we've looked at demand, we've hit price, and we've talked about pace. Now let's pull all those threads together and really see what this picture means for you if you're thinking about making a move in Ocala.
And here's the number that ties it all together. The total active inventory. Right now, as we speak, there are 2,565 homes for sale in the Ocala area. This is the direct result of that market flow we talked about, more homes being listed than sold. This big number, 2,565, that's the pool of choices you have as a buyer today.
So if you're a buyer, what does all this mean for you? It really boils down to two key things. First, you've got options. With over 2,500 homes to look at, there's a ton of selection across different neighborhoods and price ranges. And second, the timeline is on your side. That 104-day average, it means this isn't a crazy, frantic market. You can actually take a breath and take the time you need to properly check out a property before you make a move. And really, that brings us to the final thought here. The data paints a really clear picture, right? We have a stable market, it's rich with choices, and it's moving at a nice, steady pace. So the only question that's really left is the one for you. With over 2,500 homes out there right now in Ocala, is your perfect home one of them? Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next update.